Hey forum, my name is Manny, aka CascadeScents. Welcome to another video. As you see by the title, this one is on my 10 fragrances, 10 countries tag, or best travel fragrances, at least for where I would travel to. And no, I was not initially tagged in this video, at least not to my knowledge, but I decided to jump in on the fun because I love traveling, I love the travel bug, and honestly, I think it's a really good idea by way initially of the Fragrance Apprentice, aka George Atkinson. So if you've yet to see his initial video, I'll link it in the description below and go subscribe to him. He does really great fragrance content too. That being said, I also can't wait to get into my travel fragrances here. But before I get into that, I am also requesting that you also subscribe to my channel here too. I've done some digging around, looking through my analytics and whatnot, and I've seen that over half of you guys who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to this channel. So if you do appreciate this free content and you also want to give back to me furthermore, please subscribe to this channel. It is free. It does help me out. It does help me get seen across various trending tabs and whatnot. And if for whatever reason this content is no longer for you, then you can also unsubscribe as well. But don't worry guys, I'll still always try my best to keep uploading these honest and hopefully engaging and unique fragrance takes. And the way I'm finna do this list is that I'm going to start with 5 cities/countries that I've yet to go to, and then end with 5 cities/countries that I have been to. So here we go with the first city and country I've yet to go to. It's none other than Melbourne, Australia. Now sure, the Victorian capital is always amongst the world's most livable cities on just about every best of list out there, but honestly for me, the first thing that I always think about when I hear Melbourne is sports. Now I know not everyone here is totally into sports, and that's fine, but I think if you do go to Melbourne, I just think it would be really hard to avoid. So things I think of is the fact that it is a former Olympic host city. You think of Melbourne Cricket Ground, also the Australian Grand Prix as well, and of course my favorite, the Australian Open. Now it goes without saying that it also gets super hot out there, so that's no fun for me because I'm not really the biggest fan of overly hot weather. So as a result, I think it's really important for me to have something that I am not afraid of just spraying through, you know, something sporty and fresh. So I'm going to keep it simple here in the scent that I bring to Melbourne, Australia, and here it is. It's Nautica Voyage from Nautica. Now with Nautica Voyage, of course, with how low you can actually get it for, don't be afraid to spam this stuff because again, it's only going to cost you about a large pizza and a ham sandwich. But really, its affordability only matters if you really like this scent. And honestly, it's hard not to like it for the price. We're talking really friendly opening, got a lot of green apple there. We're talking showery and marine notes as well, with also more than a touch of greenness here. We're getting some leafy notes as well. And despite the blue hue here, I really do feel like it's also almost equally a greener kind of freshie. But to be honest, do not be apprehensive of that because I know some of y'all are absolutely apprehensive of greener scents. It's still for the most part lean, sporty, and fresh. I know I'm going to be sweating buckets, so I wouldn't be shocked if I'm just going to run through this daily for however many days or weeks I am there for. So again, for my scent for Melbourne, Australia, it's none other than Nautica Voyage. Anyway, we're finna move on to the next city, and it is in Africa now, so we're jumping continents. So we're talking Marrakech, Morocco. Now on top of their beautiful red sandstone that is in and surrounding the city, Marrakech is also known for their old town or Medina quarter of Jamal Afna. So a lot of action there, and boy does it get hella lit with all the foot traffic coming in and out of there. So it goes without saying, there's a lot of great specialties out there, food and beverage wise. But to my knowledge, Marrakech is known for one specific ingredient, or note in this case, and believe it or not, that is mint. So one of these days, I definitely have to try some authentic Marrakech mint tea. So I can't wait for that, but until then, I want to dream about wearing a mint fragrance over there. And since I don't have a mint tea fragrance, I'm just going to go with a mint fragrance that actually shouts furthermore. And I feel like I can use a fragrance that would shout furthermore there just because I feel like they would be a little bit more receptive to scents and fragrance overall there. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe one of you guys from Marrakech can actually correct me if that is not the case. But anyway, here's the stuff I would bring. It is the very minty as well, first sight by the gate. Now you might be wondering, just because if you've been a long time watcher of this channel, I do have a lot of mint fragrances and even ones that really project as well. But the reason why I picked this one is because I feel like it's really nuanced, yet also my most friendly mint fragrance. So for me, I mainly get 2 stages here. We're talking the citrus cocktail note in the opening as well as some lemonade, but you add that pear sorbet, you add some mint. It comes off as like a citrusy, jammy, almost fruity-like accord on top of how cooling it feels with the mint. It definitely feels like something that I want to drink. Dries down into a rather simple musk as well, but to be fair, I think it's already nuanced enough at the top to keep me satisfied for what is typically a mundane kind of fragrance family in mint fragrances. But honestly, honestly, I'm telling you, Forum, when people ask about this fragrance, they ask about it. Like, I think that's a really wonderful compliment when they are looking for this for themselves, not just telling you that it smells nice. And much to their chagrin, because sometimes they're not fragrance enthusiasts, they see the price and they're kind of scared off. That being said, if you are looking for a different style of mint fragrance, cocktail and slightly gourmand driven one, definitely give this a shot if you can. Again, it's first sight by the gate, which I think is perfect for keeping me fresh out there in Marrakech. Alright, Forum, moving on to the next continent, country, and city. We're hopping over across the pond all the way to South America, specifically La Paz, Bolivia. And this is not the traditional, I guess, South American city that most people might think of, because it sits somewhere within the Andes Mountains. It's so high up itself, actually, that it is the world's highest capital city. So they have quite an altitudinal approach to life, and I just think it's really enchanting. I really don't think there's a lot of places like this place on Earth that I can think of remotely. So to furthermore channel that very altitude, I think I need something that makes me feel like I'm higher. So cue the very appropriate Higher by Christian Dior, my choice for La Paz. Now when Higher opens up, it's characterized by this pear basil accord that Christian Dior actually advertises. It's a very herbal type of fresh, naturally with the basil, with a touch of fruitiness with the pear. Very 90s-esque, so if you are apprehensive to 90s fragrance, to be honest, I would just stay completely away from this kind of stuff, because it might be too quote-unquote dated for you, but honestly, I think it smells wonderful, and I still think it's also modern enough for today if it makes you feel any better. But to furthermore give that very accord a kick, you also have a little bit of cardamom there just to help furthermore feel like this scent is enveloping. So literally it's scent cloud once you're heating up a little bit, once this projects furthermore. Cool, austere, and to me, very evocative of La Paz, despite not me being there ever. But yeah, on top of that, it's really work safe, and one I feel like I can just walk around the city in all day. It's not gonna feel like I'm disturbing anyone per se, unless I really want to overspray it. I just think it's one of the perfect designer fragrances for their time, and one that's so appropriately named. So yeah, can't get enough of it. So once more for La Paz, it is Higher by Christian Dior. Now moving on to the next city and country that I've yet to go to, we're heading back across the pond into the Mediterranean Sea and all the way eastbound to the very, very beautiful Dubrovnik, Croatia. And sure, there are hella options on the way in the Mediterranean, a lot of cool cities and countries that I'm sure I'm finna miss. But to be honest, I think I'm looking for something a little bit more relaxed and potentially less mainstream in comparison to everywhere else that I feel like I hear more of. So that's why I feel like I'm picking Dubrovnik, but to be fair, it is getting a little bit busier there in recent years. But the one thing that hasn't changed for me, as far as what I've heard from other people, is that this place just does not seem to fail ever. People seem to always fondly reminisce here the fondest out of the places that they've been, say, in their most recent trip. I feel like it just has everything from the red roofs of their Gothic and Romanesque architecture to the natural beauty of the Mediterranean Sea itself. I just feel like I can't dig none of this. And yeah, I'm just adoring this place from afar. So I really do believe that for some place as mystically Mediterranean as this is, I feel like I need the most Mediterranean scent possible. The ultimate Mediterranean scent, if you will. And in my opinion, that is this right here. It's Erolfa by Creed for Dubrovnik, Croatia. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this scent, this is actually the Creed family scent. So a beautiful citrus opening, very juicy stuff. You're getting a little bit of saltiness as well from the ambergris or the Creed imitation ambergris. And trust me when I tell you that this stuff just projects beautifully off of your skin. Like, it's not going to be beyond an arm's length or anything, but within that close proximity under, you know, substantial heat and whatnot, I just think it's going to smell glorious. And to be fair, when it comes to early to mid 90s kind of beach freshies, I feel like this stuff does not get enough credit for kind of kicking it off, because try naming a beachy scent before this one. I'll wait. So a part of me feels like some beachier DNAs are also definitely inspired from this, including Milsim Imperial by Creed as well, which I definitely could have named instead of this for Dubrovnik, but I feel like that scent is a little bit more of a catch-all DNA as far as not just for the beach. This to me right here is walking around in a Mediterranean wonderland and or swimming or yachting in this. I just think it's fucking gorgeous. So yeah, definitely check out this underrated Creed if you've yet to. It's Erolfa, again my choice for Dubrovnik, Croatia. And last but not least for me, as far as the cities that I have yet to go to, we're finna head northwest bound towards the Netherlands. So we're talking Amsterdam. Now of course Amsterdam is known for a lot of things. Amongst that is their preferred mode of transportation, like cycling. I think that's really cool. Of course their museums are rather beautiful and I can't wait to check out those one day. But we also can't forget about places like de Wallen, of course, one of the most prolific red light districts in the world. So yeah, I think more often than not, when it comes to what comes to Amsterdam, I think it's the word fun. I think they take fun really seriously. So I think I need an equally fun scent to truly enjoy what Amsterdam has to offer in the 21st century. And you know what? We're going to keep it Dutch as well. So here we go with none other than Victor and Rolf's Spice Bomb Extreme. Trust me, the Dutch know what they're doing because it takes what the initial fragrance was and its DNA and kind of just expands upon it. You know, not like some fake ass flankers out there that smell like a completely different scent but have the same name with an added word or two. That being said, does this smell like a more extreme version of Spice Bomb? No, I think they could have perhaps picked a better adjective because, to be honest, I think it's a lot more smoother and less rugged than the more piercing spiciness of the initial Spice Bomb Eau de Toilette. So why is it more smooth? Here you have a little bit more reliance on vanilla. I think that's hard to hate if you're going to put that below the slightly toned down spiciness of the opening here. It just feels really comforting in my personal opinion. So yeah, there's no denying that this is definitely one of my most complimented designer fragrances out there. The tobacco and bourbon notes are super warm as well, and I just feel like these are, again, overall notes that are hard to hate. So again, I must say that anything that's remotely polarizing about the initial Spice Bomb is just, again, definitely toned down here. So perfect for a night on the town, whether you're finna keep it PG-13 or if you're up to no good. Yeah, you just can't go wrong with Spice Bomb Extreme. Again, that's my choice for Amsterdam in the Netherlands. That being said, we're finna move on to cities that I have spent some time in. So to kick it off in this other half of the video, we're going to the opposite side of the continent I'm on in North America, and the city, province, and country that I'm talking about is Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And just like its sister, also in the Pacific Northwest, just southbound in Seattle, Washington, USA, Vancouver is also known for their more chilled out lifestyle that's also greener and environmentally friendly. But one thing I feel like that has popped off in more recent years as well is also their notorious love for coffee. And don't worry, it's not just Starbucks that's popping up anywhere within Vancouver. You have a lot of mom and pop cafes that I feel like I definitely have to check out once again. So with that Java in mind and that green driven approach from Vancouver, I feel like I need just a thing, and I feel like I had the perfect thing here, and it's by Xerjoff. This one is called Golden Green. And what this is right here is not your more gourmand breakfast syrupy kind of coffee-ish fragrance that some people are used to from the 90s and early to mid 2000s. What this in contrast is just exactly like the name says. It is a greener, rawer approach to coffee. So we're talking freshly picked green coffee beans, unroasted. And again, that greener approach could be like what Vancouver is as far as the mood and the physical surroundings, despite coffee beans not actually growing there. I just feel like it captures like a coniferous, greener kind of vibe, again, without actually being coniferous. So to furthermore help this fragrance pop as far as the scent cloud, also we're adding a little bit of cardamom to this, as well as juniper berries for a deeper kind of kick, but one that again is still very enveloping. And yeah, overall, it's just a very unique take on coffee, and one I think again is perfect for the Pacific Northwest. So if you're at all interested in something a little bit more different and want something that isn't the conventional coffee fragrance, definitely check this out. Perfect for specifically Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. It is Xerjoff's Golden Green. But boy, are we jumping continents, because now we're heading into Asia. So we're going across the Ring of Fire into Tokyo, Japan. And if you're a regular watcher of CascadeScents, you would know that I've been there kind of recently-ish with my good friends Imagine Scent and Jen Scents. Yeah, my best friends within the fragrance community. We were just mucking around in Tokyo. That shit was super fun. Of course, Tokyo is known for its super advanced yet hedonistic lifestyle and that awesome metropolitan playground they have. So much to do there, but when I'm considering going back to Tokyo, it's going to be in the spring. So of course, we're thinking various naturey festivals within the city parks and scenery that they have there. So I feel like I need a fragrance that kinda is reminiscent of that, but one that doesn't shout too much, just because Japan is also not really receptive to perfume and or fragrances in general, mainly because they perceive scent like that in a way that's too extra or too showy in how it's physically space invasive with the perfume or projection cloud that you are emitting. So I really do feel like it's paramount to smell like something that they are familiar with, to smell like something tangible and real despite being synthetic. And I have just the shit right here. This is by Comme des Garçons x Monocle. This is Yoyogi. Now we were actually going through Yoyogi Park in order to get to the Meiji Shrine earlier in February this year. Very picturesque green walk, just super beautiful. Feels super zen and calming, and honestly, this scent captures this shit to a T. Besides the cypress and the fresh cut grass here, which is definitely evocative of the park, I feel like what really sets this scent off is the wormwood accord. It is so mystifying. Wormwood, of course, is the primary ingredient in absinthe, so it definitely could lean boozy and or remind you of something boozy like that. So I guess you can also say it's a fun scent. But in my opinion, when used in this kind of way, again with those aforementioned green and woody scents, it just feels mystifying. It really feels like I'm being transported back to that actual park, Yoyogi Park. So definitely appropriately named, definitely perfect for Tokyo spring and or the fall right now, to be honest. And yeah, if you've yet to go to Japan, you definitely have to. And personally, when I'm back, I'm going to take this one with me yet again. So once again, it's appropriately named Yoyogi by Comme des Garçons X Monocle for Tokyo, Japan. Now for them, we're moving on to somewhere in Southeast Asia, so we're going southbound all the way to Singapore. Now, to be honest, Singapore might be actually my favorite place on the list. It's a highly advanced and furthermore advancing metropolitan area, known for its multiculturalism and man-made wonders. And if you're like me, you might also be into this, the flex culture there too. If you don't believe me, watch Crazy Rich Asians, that shit is gnarly. So fragrance-wise, I feel like I need to have something that's a little showy there, but one that also won't choke me out at the same time. So I do think I have just the stuff right here. And that is Elysium Parfum Cologne by Roja Parfum. Guys, this stuff is some of the most perfect all-rounder in a fragrance out there on the, I guess, entry-level niche market. Not as far as price point, because this stuff is still super pricey, but as far as accessibility with how catch-all this DNA is. You have the friendliness of an Aventus and or a blue fragrance depicted with the blue hue right here, but one that might arguably be better as far as the feedback category. That's if you have the climate for it, just because I still don't think that this is a feedback getter year-round, but with a little heat, I feel like this could be magical as far as the compliments you do get. So to achieve that friendly vibe, we're talking a lot of citrus, most notably grapefruit and lime. Very juicy stuff, just the kind of stuff that you just want to drink. But to make this stuff furthermore enveloping off the top, you also have musk as a top note, which I think is really unique, just to prolong that opening as long as possible, again with those friendly juicy notes. Got a little bit of lavender there too for an herbal masculine touch, and then towards the base you're getting a lot of cedar wood and even more musk as well as juniper, which in my opinion makes this scent smell blue, like physically blue. Kind of like a deep blue fruitiness, if that makes any sense. Slightly smoky, friendly, but again, mainly fun. That being said, you might say that there are drawbacks to the scent because it smells a little bit too maybe mundane for you, because it in essence smells like a higher end version of what you are used to on the designer level. But again, a scent like this is designed to hook people into niche to begin with, so I think for the majority of budding perfume lovers out there, I think that you'll likely be receptive to this. So if you've yet to test this out, definitely do so. I think it's perfect, again, for a place like Singapore. It is Roja Parfum Elysium Parfum Cologne. That being said, we're moving on to the second last place that I'm mentioning on this video. We're finna stay in Southeast Asia, just moving up a bit more towards my country, like my country of heritage. We're talking the Philippines, so specifically the capital city of Manila. Now it goes without saying that I know this place pretty well. It's like a gangbang of things to do. And of course you can do all levels of shopping as well, which is super fun, whether you're doing it at one of our famous mega malls and or maybe a market square like Divisoria if you're into bargaining. So yeah, I can't emphasize enough. There's just a lot to do and see in Manila, which makes sense because it's the most densely populated city in the world, which can also lead tourists and residents alike wanting to experience some of what's more tranquil natural beauty just outside of the city. So I definitely feel like I need a fragrance that can do all of those things. And I think I have just the stuff right here. It's Fils de Dieu by État Libre, perfect for Manila, Philippines. There's an innocent warmth to this in my personal opinion too, formed not just by its citrusy, spicy opening, but more in its mid, because believe it or not, I feel like the main note here is rice. Yes, you heard me, rice. It's like a sticky rice kind of grain effect that I feel like I'm getting scent-wise, and I just think it's awesome. Also, you have what État Libre also advertises as pure jungle essence, whatever that is. But for a further more tropical effect, you have a little bit of tonka bean here as well as jasmine. So overall, we're talking a little bit citrusy, spicy, and warm, mainly with those rice notes into a dry down that gets furthermore sweet. This stuff is light enough that I can just go with a couple sprays if I don't want to choke myself out in the heat, or if I really want to project maybe for the nighttime time, I could also spray a little bit more. So yeah, I think this is just a good balance of everything, if anything. But yeah, shameless plug for my family and the homies over there in the Philippines. If you've yet to go, it's awesome. And you might as well take something like this with you too. Again, it's Fils de Dieu by État Libre. Anyway, moving on, we're finna close it out, guys. Heading back across the pond into Europe again, specifically the British Isles. So we're finna end off in style in London, England, UK. And London, of course, one of the most famous cities in the world, is known for its royal heritage, as well as its posh metropolitan life, and more recently speaking, its multiculturalism. But perfumery-wise, this has already been reflected in a plethora of fragrances that kind of claim London as an inspiration, typically with the notes of pepper and or spice, because variety is the spice of life. So yeah, I want to continue the spicy tradition, and I told myself I wouldn't do this for this list though, but I'm finna pick a city exclusive one that is endemic to London itself. And without further ado, here it is. It's Poivre by Labo, their city exclusive scent to London, UK. Now what makes this scent special is that it takes a very dry approach to both spice and sweets. Here you open up with that beautiful bourbon pepper, which Labo likes to brag about as far as being one of the most high quality peppers in the world as far as what you can use in perfume. And honestly, what I like about it is that unlike other black pepperish notes I've smelled in fragrance, is that this actually does not hurt my nose. Like I've tended to see in other warm spicy or fresh spicy offerings that if that kind of pepper just penetrates this right here, like that's where I feel it nasally, I just end up getting a headache, and I freaking hate that. But here it still feels rugged yet smooth enough, if that makes any sense, to where I can actually tolerate it, and I just think it's beautiful. You also have more ambery notes in here like labdanum, just very beautiful stuff. But ultimately in the dry down you have a more darker style of vanilla, one that's still very sweet, but it's not like dripping off your skin, so it's not too gourmand. I've always taken a liking to dry vanillas actually, if you didn't already know that. So this stuff's a beast. It's awesome. It's a very appropriate city exclusive scent. It just feels like a multicultural metropolitan London kind of lifestyle in a bottle. And yeah, if you've yet to go to London and or check this out, definitely do those things. Once more, to close out the list, it's Poivre by Labo. But yeah, forum, that about does it for me. Thank you for tuning in to my 10 fragrances, 10 countries tag video. Big shout outs again to the Fragrance Apprentice for initially starting this tag. I think it's wonderful. Again, if you love traveling and you can't because of this COVID-19, also leave this video a like. That, and again, subscribe if you've yet to. Again, it really helps this channel out. And also comment to me in the comment section below, which countries and fragrances would you put together, whether you've been to these places and or not. And yeah, until then, I think that about does it for me. So thank you for the ongoing support. Take care for now, forum. Peace out. Bye. Wear your fragrances.